Introducing my audience. Wave, everybody. Get away from Bryce. There we go. Alright. When you think of the word cozy, what comes to mind? If you ask me, I'm thinking warmth for sure. Maybe a blanket, fireplace, big old sweater. I'm thinking friends and family around, right? People that make me feel comfortable. I'm thinking most likely in my own home or just somewhere I'm familiar with. But I'm also maybe thinking, a little icing on the cake for cozy. It'd be a nice hot home-baked treat, like a nice pastry or something like that. Now if you say the word fika to a Swede, all those same ideas come to mind. Today I want to talk to you about the Swedish work-life balance philosophy by looking at their practice of fika, basically just a coffee break. We're going to look at fika through the lens of like an individual. We're going to look at it in the context of a community, and then as its effect on the economy. So, an individual practicing fika, for the bare essentials, all they need is a moment of peace, right? A step away from their work. They need coffee, maybe a tea, something to drink. And then the added parts of that are somewhere that's cozy and feels like home, a fresh baked pastry, and good conversation with the people around you. Taking the very traditional route to fika kind of requires you to make 7 homemade cakes, which is obviously way too much for any modern person in Sweden. They're still going to take the convenient route and opt for something that's just right around the corner. Buy something from the cafe, right? But that cultural identity for it to be homemade and fresh means that the cafes are taking that seriously. So they're actually making some real fresh food, and the cafe culture thrives off of that. So there's always something available for you that's fresh and sweet right around the corner, and that you can enjoy your fika with. But other than that, you're stepping away, taking a break from the work, which is obviously essential. We know that in the States, that taking a break from the work is essential. That's why we have 10-minute breaks at work. The University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign actually studied breaks and spoke to the ability to reset the mind's decision-making abilities. So getting you ready to get into that work mindset, make those decisions, that is your job. And there are many studies that support that same conclusion, but obviously the individual is taking the sweetness of the treats and that reprieve and reset from the outside. That conversation part brings us into the next and arguably more important point of fika. It's a communal activity. It's about bringing people together, having conversations with people you don't normally get access to. So you see a lot of people of all different walks of life coming together at the corner cafe and enjoying some coffee, enjoying some sweets together, and talking about all kinds of things. Sometimes it gets a little bit of crossover with the work world. There was an interview with a young lady named Hannah, who works at the Swedish company Hubble, and her company was doing the interview, but she stated to fika being an important part of how Swedish people socialize, both at work and in private life. So able to make connections that just wouldn't be there without it, right? And they're bonding over just the atmosphere, the energy that goes into fika, making it cozy, making it comfortable, snacking, and conversing. Thinking of how the work and private life kind of gets intertwined in the space that is fika. We can imagine all these different people getting off work at the same time and just meeting each other at the cafe by chance, right? It could be highest person in the company and lowest paid person in the company walking to the same cafe, and it's culturally acceptable and normal for them to just have a conversation, sit down together for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and they'll have the opportunity once or twice a day, right? You get all kinds of opportunities to talk to new people. So if we're looking at that work dynamic, we can switch over to looking at the economic impact that fika can have, or what we might see that it could potentially do, right? We see harm potentially coming from it. Maybe these extended breaks multiple times a day are bad for productivity, even though it resets the mind. Maybe it doesn't create as much production, doesn't give as much value for the companies. But I found from the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development this graph right here. Not the graph. I found the data and made the graph. That's Sweden at the top. This is GPU per hour, or GDP per hour worked. Right there at the top, right up with the United States. So clearly they're still productive. Clearly they still get things done. It doesn't hold them back. They're actually slightly above the United States on that. So I don't know if we give the edge 100% to fika on that, but they're not falling behind. That much is certain. Andreas Astrom of the Stockholm Chamber of Commerce actually went into talking about how fika kind of engages with like the business world. He started out by describing Sweden's management structure as flat, not hierarchical, maybe like a pyramid shape, like a ladder shape you might imagine for a U.S. corporation. It's more flat. Ideas are kind of shared from any member along this flat plane. So ideas can come from all different sources, and he speaks to specifically fika as being basically a vehicle for that communication, a place where they meet, they share these ideas, and where business ideas or creative ideas can come out of something that's just inherent in the culture, rather than being part of the business structure that's involved and like part of the creation process that the company goes by. It's the whole culture obeys that norm of going out, getting the nice treat, having the conversation without it needing to be someone who booked an appointment for you or something like that. You just meet, ideas can get shared, and Astrom spoke to the ability of fika to help those ideas flow through. So that's basically the idea of fika. That is the Swedish philosophy on the work-life balance. There's an intertwined aspect to it, but there's a very important idea, that individual experience of getting the treat, getting the reprieve from work, bringing a little bit of kind of that cozy home vibe out into the regular world. There is the aspect of sharing that with everybody around you, and then the impact that has on the economics plays out. People speak to the pros, and the cons are not proved by any sort of data I could find. So that's fika. Thank you.